Hello, I have yet to see the film, but I can already give you props as a director because I was there on set at the Barrel Ballroom.
Oh, wow, you were?
Yes, I
Oh,
was.
wow, that was a great night.
Absolutely, and I have to thank you because I've been an extra on a couple of projects, but no director so far has made the effort to make sure that everybody is warmed up and actually has a great time.
Thank you.
What inspired you to do that? Were there any directors that you've learned from to also take care of background actors?
No, I mean, we've got a lot of background actors and supporting artists in this film who speak and have lines, and I'm just like, they're an asset. They're part of the filmmaking process. They're not just there to fill up the room. And I think we were particularly lucky. We had an amazing background second and third on this film, and they just populated the film with just people who understood. And you find them on the day, and you're like, I need an extra line here, and this person seems like they know what they're doing, and you put it out there, and they delivered every time. So I think it's using every asset at your disposal in order to enrich your film. And yeah, I mean that ballroom scene, that it's not a ballroom, but like that gig scene with 2,000 people, we managed to get 2,000 people to show up without paying them, and we needed their energy. And you have to give to receive. So yeah, if they are the actors in that scene as much as the paid actors in that scene, and so they needed to feel part of it, and they needed to feel direction. You can create energy. That's the thing that I think makes film so special. It's not what you can see. It's not even what you can hear. It's that invisible stuff that you can capture if you make it, if you cultivate it, if you contrive it, and you can make something special. And I think that scene is a great example of that. You don't see the magic in the air, but there was you can feel it when you watch the film, You spend half of what you do is directing yourself, half of what you do is giving yourself up to a good director, half of what you do is giving yourself up to a bad director sometimes as well. So I've been sort of directing my own department for quite a long time. Directing other people's departments is a different story. So what has it given me? I think I've proved to myself that I can do that. Because I'm proud of the film. It doesn't matter what everybody else says. No, I made the film I wanted to make. That's something I didn't know that I'd be able to do. I've been on great films that are not the film, doesn't end up being the film that the director wanted to make. It kind of becomes its own thing. I set out to make this film the way it is, and it is that way, so I'm proud of that. Why did it have to be this story? It didn't have to be, but I needed something that I connected to personally. The story that the boys go on, the journey that the boys go on, of sacrificing their integrity, their identity, their authenticity. I've been afraid of that. I've walked that line for 30 years as an actor. Not as sensationally as these two characters do in this film, but it's a journey I understood in my own way, so I could see myself in it. Plus, I just don't think there's enough Scottish films getting made, and so I'm glad that I managed to get one away. And I held out for something that spoke to me personally, and felt like I could see myself in some way in these characters' lives, and I'm glad I did that. I mean, I probably saw myself more in Gavin, who's more, I suppose, fragile and troubled at times. Not because I'm necessarily fragile and troubled all the time, but Billy is so much more relaxed and just like the kind of guy that everybody would love to be. And in that way, I don't always feel like that. Good. It's probably the most nervous I've ever been at TIFF. So, and I've been here maybe this is the sixth time, I think. Yeah, first time as a director, so the most nerve-wracking time. I was kind of sure I wanted to make a Scottish story as my first story, because I don't see enough Scottish movies getting made, so I wanted to do that. I wanted to tell a story that was entertaining but had emotional depth, that had its basis in people from a background like mine, low income and limited horizons without much opportunity, but it still managed to entertain and sort of inspire. And this story, absolutely does that. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, I don't know why it's so important to anybody else. It was important to me because I wanted to tell stories about people that I recognised from my childhood, that had limited opportunities and sort of near horizons, and but again, as an actor, my favourite thing is to entertain. So you don't want to just tell a story about people who don't have things. You want to tell stories about people who don't have things and want to get them, and then go about getting them. Aspirational, entertaining as well. And that's why I was drawn to this. The two leads, or the two main characters in this, so audacious, like to a fault almost. The audacity sort of is resulting in them being like kind of Robin Hood figures in Scotland, do you know what I mean? They're like latter-day folk heroes. So it's a double meaning. A scheme is, you know, a plan, a ploy, a sort of, you know, like a swindle almost. But a scheme, where I come from, is like my neighbourhood, Drumchapel, was a scheme, is also what you guys might call a project. Or I don't know, social housing, something like that. So yeah, so a scheme is like a project.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I felt the urge when I was 16 on my very first film, having never acted before. I was like, oh, I think I know what I'm doing, which is, you know, ego and hubris. I then started, you know, later in my 20s to work with some real, like, proper special directors, and I tempered my desire because I realized I had a lot to learn. I was probably maybe ready in my 30s, but I was working and I had kids and things like that. So you know when you're ready, and it felt ready now. Well, it's not quite apples to apples, is it? Because like my job is about pretending to be someone else. Yeah, I mean, 30 years I've been doing this job, and there is a parallel with the story that the boys have. They sacrifice their identity and they sacrifice their authenticity, their integrity to get what they want. And I think as an actor, and you know, a kind of arguably successful actor for 30 years, I have definitely walked a less sensational version of that path. Definitely not as extreme and as sensational as the story in my film, but you know, holding on to yourself when your world is changing, when your life is changing, when people are asking you to be something other than that which you are, and sometimes you have to be as well. You have to kind of tread that line a little bit and keep your head, keep your sanity, keep your integrity. I've definitely walked that path, and that is in the film. That is the sort of the part of myself that I give to the film.